Welcome to Mojo Talks. I'm Eric, and today we're talking business. And I've got with me the CEO and founder of WatchMojo, Ashkan Karbasfarshan.
Hi there, Eric. What's up?
How are you?
Pretty good.
Good. So let's talk business. This is really interesting stuff. Viacom is rumored to be buying VidCon. What does this mean?
Well, I mean, it depends on what they end up paying and what the strategy is going forward, but this is actually a pretty smart bet for Viacom, believe it or not. I mean, obviously, assuming they don't mess it up afterwards. But if you go back in history, about 10 years ago, Viacom sued YouTube, and they ended up kind of losing in the legal forum and losing in the public, the court of public opinion, as well as in the business, in the marketplace.
What was their motivation for suing?
Their motivation ultimately was that YouTube was enabling copyright infringement. So they went to court, sued YouTube for $1 billion, and they didn't lose per se, but in the end, the parties didn't settle and they went their separate ways, meaning de facto, YouTube won.
And they didn't look good in the process.
They didn't look good, but more importantly, there's an entire generation of viewers who just don't really have any kind of affinity towards VH1 or MTV, right?
Right.
And so that opened the floor for creators like Smosh, for PewDiePie, and also for the WatchMojos to kind of fill that vacuum and serve audiences, right? So I think this is even more than a tacit admission by Viacom that they missed the boat. And if they're not going to own the proverbial digital stage, which is YouTube, then they're going to own the literal stage, which is VidCon. So it's actually a pretty smart move. But again, the devil's in the details, and right now it's still a rumor.
So the Green brothers, who started VidCon, you know, could this be seen as them selling out to a certain extent? I mean,
look, are there people who are going to say, oh my God, the Green brothers are selling out? Sure. I mean, you could even argue this is akin to Luke Skywalker going out there and starting a camp for Jedis and then selling it a decade later to the Galactic Empire.
Way to break it down for our Mojo.
There you go. It is. You could argue that, but I think that's unfair. I mean, ultimately, if you go back to the Google versus Viacom fight, the only reason why I think the YouTube versus Viacom legal debate, I think one of the reasons why ultimately YouTube prevailed is thanks to Google's deep pockets and their resolve. So I think you can't really blame the Green brothers. I think they're very gifted, creative guys, but they're even better business people, right? They're extremely smart when it comes to business decisions. And you know, of course, on the internet, people are going to get upset about many things, but you know, they've been growing their baby for for 8 years. This is going to be the 8th year. I went 2015, 2017, and when you get there, if you're a Viacom executive, if you're any brand, you get it. It's the world has changed, and I understand why the Green brothers would want to kind of hedge and sell. Again, rumor for now, but totally makes sense.
Do you think they're going to do it?
I mean, I think so. If it's out in the news, I don't see either side backing out. You know, I would assume it's going to happen. Why not?
Is there an upside for you know, consumers? You know, how does this affect those of us who like to watch and like to be part of that world?
Yeah, I mean, look, it is highly possible that things change, but I mean, look, things are going to change, but the reality is VidCon has already changed. It's mushroomed into this huge thing. The biggest brands are there, you know, YouTube, Microsoft, you know, Apple, big companies, big platforms, Netflix, they're all there as well. It is all about YouTube, so I think you are going to just see a further commercializing of that event. And yes, there's going to be a lot of purists who are not going to like the direction it goes into. But at the same time, you could make the same argument about YouTube. You know, YouTube started off as one thing, and it's still a great platform, but it's a lot more corporate and it's a business, you know. It's funny, people criticize WatchMojo saying we're a big corporation. I remind people, well, you know what? We didn't start off. We were, you know, a couple guys wanting to create videos. We don't have any corporate owners. We don't have any outside investors. But yes, things grow, and that's a sign of success. So are things going to change? Absolutely. Would they change with or without Viacom? They probably will. I think Viacom will probably need to get on stage this year. It's too late to change anything because the event's in a couple months, so to speak. I think it would be weird if Viacom makes no presence and assumes it's business as usual and nothing changed. I think at some point it would make sense for their CEO to get on stage and not like Bill Gates and big screen with Steve Jobs, you know, like, hey, we're rescued. But I think it would make sense for their CEO, Bob Bakish, to get out there and kind of address the audience and just say, look, we're investing because this is a fantastic thing. We just want to do more and be there for the community. But that is somewhat corporate talk. I mean, obviously, this is a business decision, and it makes sense for Viacom because they missed out on YouTube, and it's actually a pretty clever way to get in from the back door overnight. And most of the time, these deals don't work out. But when they do, it's great, and hopefully this one succeeds.
I guess we'll see. Are you planning to be at VidCon this year?
Yes, unless I said anything here that offends the Green Brothers or Viacom, I will hopefully be there, and I'll see you at VidCon.
All right, we'll see you there.